first things first, I'm going to ring around the feet. We're going to K-skin any predator that you catch. The only thing that gets open skinned is beavers. So I'm going to ring around the back legs. Need you a sharp knife. Keep you a sharpener handy, so you can touch up the blade when you need to. Coyotes can be pretty tough to skin, so if you can manage to skin them while they're a little bit warm, it'll make your life a lot easier. There, I just ring around the back feet. Cut that skin loose. Now I'll start up here at the tail. And I'm going to connect. I'm going to go from around the anus down the back of the legs to our cut that we made down there at the feet. So just slide your knife in. Go around the anus as best you can. Testicles, we can go around those. And basically you want to follow the color line. You can see where it starts, it goes from dark to lighter fur, so that's kind of what you want to follow. If anything, air to the inside, to the lighter. It might get you a little bit extra length when you're stretching your animal. So we got that one done. Start back again at the top. I like to start all of my animals, you know, on a table or a tailgate or something like this, laying down, get them started, and then I like to hang them. And I try to pull back enough of the fur that'll give me a good area free of fur that I can hang them on a gambrel. And sometimes if it's fresh, you can pull that right down. Sometimes you may need to start it a little bit yourself, so just pull on the tag in and start trimming. Very carefully. Give it a little pull, and that comes on down. Next thing I want to do before I hang it, and you can do this before or after, but while I've got it here, I'm going to go ahead and split the tail out just a little bit. And that's the same thing. You're going to start on the bottom, and watch your hand there, be cautious about your hand, but I just slide the tip of the knife in, following the bone, and work it out. And I usually try to go about maybe a third of the length of the tail, and then I'll show you how I'll strip the tail, strip the bone out of the tail, and then finish splitting the tail out once I hang it. The only other thing I do before I hang it is I'm going to get rid of these front legs, the ends of these front legs. So I'm going to start by just trying to get the legs down. Like I say, especially if they've set up, if he's kind of cold, it's going to take a little knife work. Just be particular about where your knife is, where the hide is. Because you finally got him, you don't want to knock your value down by putting any bunch of holes in him. You want to try to avoid keep as little meat on the skin as possible. That's sometimes easier said than done, but if it's not just perfectly clean, you can always, you know, that's going to come off in fleshing anyway. So I'm just slowly working down. If I make a cut, my knife is 90 degrees to the meat, to the animal. You don't want to angle your knife, especially angle it down, because you're more likely to cut into the skin. If you hold your knife like that, you got a lot more likelihood of, if you cut anything, you're cutting into the meat. Do the same on the other side. Try to get it started. Trying to keep it where you can see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to work the hide down to the hips here. I always try to give it a tug. It may or may not come. We got the testicles and the penis right here. I'm just going to connect right between. You don't need to leave that on the skin. So just going to kind of cut right through there. Alright, now we're making some headway. We'll spin her around. Spin him around, this old big old male coyote. Alright, so now I've got it down off the back legs. We're down around to the base of the tail, and I want to cut under the base of the tail. And being careful not to cut the skin, not to cut the tail off or anything. Work it from both sides. And there we go. I got the tail through. So then I want to go ahead and skin it on down just a little bit to where I stopped cutting. And I'm just kind of putting some pressure on the tail, on the fur as I go. And just cutting where the fur meets the bone. And then I'm going to you can take a tail stripper, but a set of pliers will work just fine. And pinch the pliers around the tail, and I'm going to put the tail between my fingers here. Put it between my fingers, so I'm putting pressure on both sides of the tail, both sides of the fur, and grip the pliers good and tight. Then I'm going to pull up on the bone. So I'm going to pull down on the fur, pull up on the bone, and we'll see what happens. Don't always come the first time. Sometimes you can see where it's hanging up on some tendons or something like that. Just go back to your knife. Using some caution when you're using your knife, just to make sure you don't cut the tail off, and you want to be careful because you can pull the tail off here too. So you want to make sure that you're getting a good grip. You've got it started. I'm going to try it again. There it goes. It just pops right out just like that. Now, other key is you've got to be sure to split this tail all the way out, or else it'll start rotting. And they do make tail strippers to do that, but it's pretty easy to do with your knife. I just simply run it in there as far as it'll go, and then pull it out. Press down. Again, run it in there, press down, and it just opens it right up. You want to be sure you go all the way to the tip. There's the tip there. You don't want any of that to start rotting. You send even a slightly rotting fur to the market, and that's not going to turn out good. So, all right, we got the tail done. Now we can work on the rest here. We got the penis right here, so we can just cut. Just work this area down, cut right through that. See, you got a fair amount of fat on him. Just work him on down. So here we are at the front shoulders, and sometimes right in here you can get your fingers inside the hide and push down and start working inside the hide there. And then this is a tricky part where the kind of the brisket is, I guess you could call it. That's a really easy area to put a cut in your hide because of how the legs intersect. So pay a lot of attention. Use your hand, whatever hand you're not dominant with, that you're not holding your knife with. Slide it up under there and use it to grab and figure out where the skin ends, and then you'll know where it is safe to use your knife. And then I can see I'm getting down to the leg right here. I've got a leg going here. I've got a leg going here. So now I'm getting to the point where I want to try to make me a hand hole here to where I can work those legs through and get down to the head and finish skinning this coyote out. So there we go. I'm going to pull it on down as far as I can. Keep pressure on the hide as you're pulling. Again, this between the legs here is a real easy area to make a mistake. So pay extra attention. And then a lot of this is just going to be feeling with your hands and looking for, all right, there's the front edge of the leg, so I know I can work through right there and get through here. So you want to be particular here, but you got an idea of where the hide stops on this side. You check, make sure everything's still on the viewfinder. Yeah. You got a good idea of where the hide stops on this side. So there we go. Push it through and pull down. And you need a stout screwdriver, because when you start pulling like that, you don't want the screwdriver to bend or break. And this would also be a good time when you get to this point, if you've got a winch or another way to lift your catch and just make it a little bit easier on you while you're skinning, not having to squat down. Here's where I made the cut in the leg, and you see that kind of helps to kind of bring the hide on out. So now I know exactly where the leg is, and I can go ahead and finish that off and cut it loose. Alright, so I got that leg free. Just cut all this to make sure we're good here. Now we work on this one, just working it down. Alright, so now I'm down past the front legs and I'm just working towards the head. So your leg holes give you a good hand hold. Just work it through. Keep pressure on it and work it down. And you can see, I mean, it's pretty distinct where the hide is and where the flesh is. So just keep some steady pressure on it and work it down. Now I know I'm getting close to the ears, and I can actually kind of feel the cartilage right there. So I'm just going to cut straight in to the skull. But the closer to the skull you can cut it, the better off you're going to be. And then you can use that ear hole to pull as well. I know, same thing on the other side. 22 shell, 22 bullet. Cut through the ear. Just keep on working on down. So your next area of concern is your eyes. And I'm getting to them right now. I kind of see a little bulge where the eyes are going to be. Same as the ears, I'm just going to keep cutting 90 degrees to the skull. Just cut that all the way through, and that's going to cut it just like it needs to be. That's perfect. And I got the teeth right here. I cut through the jaw, and that gives me a good finger hold to work this on down. You have to be careful because the eye is going to hold on the inside of the eyelid, so pay a little attention there so you don't give it a big eye. And then just focus, do the same thing on the other side. You feel the bulge where the eye is. Cut through where the jaw and give you a little hand hold. Actually gave that one a little bit of a big eye, but we'll manage. Hey boy, give me just a minute, alright? And I've got the bottom jaw cut down a little bit. Unless you're doing it for some kind of taxidermy purpose or your own purpose, for the fur market, you don't need the bottom jaw on there. So I'll slip my knife through and cut it through. That gives me a good hand hold to finish it out. So I just keep on pulling, keep my knife 90 degrees to the skull, and just follow that edge as I peel it on down. Alright, then I get to the nose, and the cartilage is going to extend on up the nose, so as soon as I feel where the nose, the bone ends and the cartilage begins, I just cut straight down, cut it off, and there's your hide, completely separate from your skin, or your body. So then all we got to do is turn it first side out. And there's your nice prime coyote hide ready to be cleaned up and put on the stretcher.